Hey guys, I'm Rory, and in this video I'm going to give you your first cajon lesson. This is a wonderful instrument, whether you're a percussionist, whether you're a drum kit player, or whether you've never made music before. This is a great first instrument to learn how to play, and there's something incredibly satisfying about sitting on the instrument that you're actually playing. I can't really think of too many other instruments that you sit on to play it. In this video I'm going to give you the fundamentals, foundations of technique, the three main sounds, and I'm going to give you a super effective starter groove and a variation or an extension on that starter groove, and we're going to get it going with some real musical examples too. So if that sounds good to you, let's just jump straight into it. First things first, how do we actually sit on the instrument? Of course you can just sit down and just figure it out, but I actually like to think of a tripod position between my 2 feet and the actual cajon itself. So if I look down at my feet here, my heels are pointing out from the corners of the instrument, creating like a right angle, okay? So then I bring my heels out about 1 step, and it creates a really nice tripod between my 2 feet and the cajon itself. Really important that you're sitting up nice and tall, relax the shoulders, okay? When we move forward to strike the instrument, we pivot from the hips. Our hip bones are actually in here. So think of it hinging. Think of the body hinging forward and back. So if I kind of just shimmy over this side so you can see a little clearer. Yeah, I'm leaning forward to play the instrument. I'm not curling forward. When we create the curve in the spine, it creates tension on the muscles and the bones. And then of course with tension, that can turn into aches, aches turn into pain, pain can turn into injury. Not today or tomorrow, but if you're playing the cajon a lot, if you're practicing the cajon a lot, that's something you might have to contend with. So getting the posture right, the position at which we play the instrument is super important. Next up, we're going to have a look at the 3 main sounds that you're going to need to play this instrument. Of course, there are no limit to the number of sounds you can play on this fabulous instrument, but for the purpose of this first lesson, we're going to focus on 3, okay? The first is the bass sound, at least what I call the bass sound. And this is where the whole hand is nice and flat, relaxed. Fingers can be together, slightly separated. We don't want them spread out. We don't want it to be a very tense hand. It's a soft, relaxed hand. I almost think of like a slight cup in the hand too. This is apparently how they create the sound in Peru, where the cajon originates from. I like to create this nice cupped shape with my hand. And then we're just going to draw the hand just below the top set of screws here. And we're just going to really relaxed allow the whole arm to just draw in and out. Really soft. Of course, this is my right hand. We can do it with the left hand too. We don't want to overplay it. If we overplay it, we just get a bang sound. A common mistake is that people think to get the bass sound, they've got to go right down into the middle of the cajon, and you really don't. The bass sound is just slightly below the top edge of the surface of the cajon, and we want to really articulate our different sounds. So the bass sound, nice and soft with the hands. This is how we get our bass sound. Next sound we're going to have a look at is what I call the tone sound. So we're moving our hands up from the playing position until the main set of knuckles, these knuckles here, are over the shell, the corner, the edge of the drum here, okay? So from here, we're going to move from the wrist, only moving from the wrist to create a higher pitched sound and a more maybe articulate sound. There's more point to this sound, tone. So we've got the bass sound, we've got the tone sound. So the third and final sound that I'm going to share with you today is what I refer to as the slap sound. High pitched sound, slap sound, okay? So from here, we're going to go to the top set of knuckles, these sort of little knuckles here that are on the fingers, and we're going to bring the hands out so that they're around the corner of the instrument. This is where the surface of the cajon is more firmly attached, so we get just a lot higher pitched sound here, okay? So from here, we're going to think of snapping the fingers a little bit, almost like you're sort of scolding someone or swatting something. Not too much, a little kind of pinch with the tips of the fingers. Do you hear the difference with the tone sound? It's fairly subtle. So play around with that. This is a great moment as well for us to remember that all cajons will have different sort of sound qualities. Some of them will be very, very bassy. Some of them will have loads of dynamic tonal variation. Some might not. This cajon that I'm playing has loads of dynamic variation. It's the Schlagwerk Fine Line Comfort that is just such a wonderful cajon to play. One of the nicest instruments that I've played on. So if you're interested in getting a cajon, I would highly recommend the Schlagwerk Fine Line Comfort range. It also comes with this really nice little cushion on top, because of course when you're playing for a long time, sitting on a solid box can be a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, so this is a lovely instrument, really satisfying instrument to play. So how can we put all of these lovely sounds into practice? Well, let's get going with our first groove. So this first groove sounds like this. This is a super simple groove with 4 steady beats that go round and round. We play right followed by left, alternating single strokes, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And the tonal variation for this is bass, tone, slap, tone, bass, tone, slap, tone. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bass, tone, slap, tone, bass, tone, slap, tone. Okay, now for the tone, I'm playing the tone with my left hand. My right hand is my dominant hand, so that's the hand that's leading with the bass and the slap. And the tone is really just tapping, almost ghosting, just filling in the gap. So think in that left hand, playing that really soft, really relaxed, really quiet. In fact, my thumb is actually resting on top of the cajon here. I'm mainly using my second and third fingers here. Now I like to play a lot of split-handed technique when I'm playing cajons, so that often is how I'm playing the tone sound. I'm just sort of ghosting with the second and third fingers, okay? So that's something you might want to incorporate into your playing too. It's also nice when you start to include finger rolls. Where we start to create like little drags with our fingers in addition to the core kind of grooves and patterns that we're playing. So this groove will fit with so many different musical examples. So let's get it going with some music straight in. Groove number 1, here we go. Ready, steady, off we go.
She was born like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor and around.
Ready, steady, off we go. So I'm really curious if there are any other songs that you can think of that this groove fits really nicely to. If so, let me know in the comments. Maybe we can kind of create a bit of a community playlist for playing along to. That would be a lot of fun. So now moving on to how we can extend that groove. You might say, yeah, I've got that one, that's sounding great with the music, but I want something a little bit more. We're going to build on that. It's the same foundation to the groove. There are 4 steady beats that go round and round. But instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to fill in the gaps a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See what I did there? Instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I did 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And really all we're doing is 1 on the bass, E and A, all using the tone sound, left, right, left. So it'll go bass in the right hand, right, left, followed by slap, left, right, left, 2 E and A. That's the second beat. Third is the same as the first. Right, left, right, left. 4 is the same as the second. Slap tone, tone, tone. So if we think of that next to the first groove, you'll see that they sound similar, they feel similar, but it's just like an extension or a variation on that. So in turn, they can work really nicely together. So we can jump from 1 to 2 and play around with that, and of course that's where it starts to get really fun, where we have a repertoire of different grooves that we can apply to different musical examples so that we can then jump around and not just do the same groove all the time. Okay, so let's see how this one fits with the music. We're going to take our variation, or groove number 2, and get this going with some real musical examples. So guys, don't be afraid to explore and play outside just those 2 grooves that I've showed you today. Of course, it's just a starting point, a foundation to get you going. There's so many different sounds that this instrument can get. You can even use your foot to get different variations in the pitch. So play around, experiment, and have fun with this awesome instrument. I hope you found this lesson helpful, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads of other documentaries, tutorials and things in and around music, in and around percussion. If that sounds good, do subscribe. And if you'd like to download the worksheet for this lesson, you can. The link is in the comments down below, which you might like to incorporate into your practice too. So thank you for watching everyone. Have a lovely day, have fun with your cajon, and see you next time. Bye bye.